Buongiorno tutti. I'm Francesca Elisabetta Owens, and I am the founder of travelfromtheinsideout.org. I run a Facebook group that you have to meet criteria to get in, because I don't just let everybody in, Travel from the Inside Out - Italy and Europe. I also run a new group which is called Senior Women Travel Club on Facebook, and I'll pretty much let everybody into that group. My website is travelfromtheinsideout.org, and I might have already said that. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm looking over here at pieces of paper of my certificate and my background, so you know who you're dealing with. This is a certificate of achievement presented to me from the Italian National Tourist Board. So it's from the country of Italy has issued this to me, and I am a travel to Italy specialist. Okay, and that's not an American designation, that's by the Italian Tourist Board. Then within the United States, I am also a certified travel coach through the Travel Coach Network, and through that network, I am the ambassador to Italy. Maybe you could see that. All right. Another thing is I am a podcast guest, and this is just my podcast one sheet that gives all my background, tells the podcasts. I've been on national TV in Italy as well as in the US, and the podcasts have all been in the United States. I've been on radio in Italy. I've also been featured in ARP magazine. This is AARP, and I don't know, I assume you're not seeing this in reverse, but who the heck knows. But I was one of the main contributors to ARP Ethel magazine for that story. And in addition to that, in the Washington Post, I was interviewed as a travel coach with my client, and I was a major contributor to that story too. I don't think I have the trips to discover in here, which I was featured for disability purposes as a disability expert. Oh yeah, I was on the cover of Golden Living magazine with my girls, and I was the featured story in Golden Living magazine. And I've had a bunch of written publications. I can't remember them all, but that's kind of the nuts and the bolts of my credentials. Now, in reality, what makes me so special regarding Italy is I have lived in Spoleto, Italy for the last 15 years full-time, raising my youngest daughter. I went there as an American. I'm smirking because I was a legal immigrant for 4 years, me and my daughter, but we got it figured out. And then we got a permesso di soggiorno elettiva residenza, which is a permission of stay elective residency. And I had always been trying to get citizenship, but it was really, really, really hard. And I succeeded in getting Italian citizenship through my rights of blood, through my Italian grandmother, Antonia Malaco. And my youngest daughter is Antonia Eva Owens. And then I have an oldest daughter too. My little daughter is 21, turning 22. My oldest daughter is 36. I have a granddaughter, Vaughn, her birthday's today. She's turning 4. And I have an adoptive daughter. One of my sisters died of breast cancer, and Sarah is my adopted daughter. She is my niece, so she calls me Mama Zia. And Mama is Mama, and Zia means aunt, because I'm technically an aunt, but I'm also stepped in to kind of be a mother for my niece. So I have my 3 girls and my granddaughter. So I lived in Italy for 15 years, Spoleto, historical center, speak the Italian language, dangerously proficient, meaning I make all kinds of grammatical mistakes, but I don't care. But I am fluent in Italian. I have double citizenship, and I had residency until I just moved back to the United States, of which time I decided to work with older women. I'm 61. This is February. My birthday was January of this month that just passed, so I'm 61. And the year is 2023, because who knows when this video, sometimes you can't always see the dates on the video. And I work with women, although I say 55 and older, I have to say my target market is 60, 65, up through 85. Yes. So, and I have many services available through travelfromtheinsideout.org. My mother was 100% Italian, born to two immigrants, Antonia and Raphael. My grandfather died before my mother ever got married, so I never met my birth grandfather, but I know his entire history of being a soldier in World War I, fighting alongside Alvin York, Colonel Alvin York, which was the #1 hero from World War I, if you know anything about history. And my grandfather was injured in World War I, fighting for the Americans against the opposing party over there. He was in France when he served, got hit with shrapnel, came back to the country, and the country then gave him citizenship. My grandmother then remarried a fellow Angelo, and from when I was a child through the age of 18, I only knew Angelo as my grandfather, even though I had a very hard time understanding him because he was from Sicily. My birth grandfather was from Caserta, which is kind of the Naples area. And my grandmother was from Lazio. So the two regions were right next to each other, but they didn't meet until in the United States. And so I was raised by my mother, who unfortunately, sadly died when I was 24. I was devastated, just devastated. Yeah, really devastated. Luckily, I had just simultaneously given birth to my youngest daughter, who I was not married to her father. And that gave me a reason to go on. I probably wouldn't have gone on if I didn't have that youngest daughter to raise. I was that devastated by my mother's loss. My mother and I were like this. And it took 10 years before I could take my first trip to Europe. I did a 6-week backpacking trip with my then, I think she was 12-year-old daughter, Megan, and we flew in to Frankfurt and did 6 weeks, an open jaw, met my Italian family, found them, and then went all the way to Greece and Santorini, and then flew out. From that point forward, which I think was 1996, my addiction and obsession for Europe started. And it was an addiction and an obsession, and it still kind of is. So from 96 through 2006, the trip started at 6 weeks backpacking, then went to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 10 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, when I broke all the rules for how long you were allowed to stay there. But at the time, they didn't really care and they didn't catch you. Now they will catch you, so do not do that. And then in 2007, I was 44. The second pregnancy at 40 had damaged my heart valve. I had open heart surgery at 44, then some strokes, and I went into being very sick and very disabled. So I just picked up with my little daughter, moved to a village where I knew nobody, and I rebuilt my life over the next 15 years. My oldest daughter has asked me upon the birth of my granddaughter to start making the move back to the United States, that instead of being in Italy 10 months out of the year and America 2 months out of the year, she wants me based in the country, which I am now. And then I can leave. Well, she doesn't, I don't have to say can, but to be reasonable, I try not to stay out of the country more than 4 months, because that's kind of the deal I cut with my daughter. I was playing with my necklace. This is a gift. And this is the Rossone of the Duomo of Spoleto. And one of my clients, Vera, bought that for me. Vera is 83 last summer. She's going to be turning 84. And she came to Italy under the travel curator package and stayed in Italy last summer in Spoleto when I was there for a month. She is coming back again this summer for 2.5 months. And she likes to be in the village when I'm in the village. And then we do things together, and I do my travel curating for her. I am also, I've got an event going on, which is this, which there's plenty of information. It is a 10-day package, and it's called The Best of Italy's Hilltop Villages 10-Night Cultural Experience. It is May 3rd through May 13th, 2023. And I have 2 spots open. I've got 5 ladies coming, and all of the information is on the website. Let's see. I think that's pretty much about it. So this was just a overview of a little bit about me. You can find me on Facebook. I've got the 2 different groups. One group is easy